More money. I want more money. One of the things that I am fully aware of, because I also am a homeowner, and I also think that my home is just a little bit nicer than the other homes on the street. I mean, we've done a lot of remodeling, we've increased the square footage immensely, and we've done a lot of upgrading. So it's only natural that I feel that my home is worth more. So the first thing I want you to do, if you are a seller, whether you're going to sell now or in the future, is I want you to eliminate the word worth from your vocabulary and instead use the word value. One of the things I teach real estate agents at American River College, and I have for years, is that they do the same thing. And mainly because it's insulting to have an agent say to you, well, your home just isn't worth that right now. Oh, that's horrible. That's like telling someone they have ugly kids, right? But listen, if you're going to sell your home, you really need to get your mental state, your attitude in the place of someone who is doing a business transaction. I realize that that can be very tough and challenging because money is an emotional topic. Your home is an emotional topic. So when I ask you to remove your emotions from it, you're like, shut up. Don't even talk to me like that. But I'm telling you this for your own good and to help you. When you are emotional in a real estate transaction, when you are operating from the emotions of my home is worth this and I should have this and I shouldn't do these repairs, when you act and react from that perspective, from that persona, then you're not going to like it. You're going to have buyers and buyers agents. You're going to have people that say things that just really rub you the wrong way. And at the end of the day, you're not going to get what you want. And I'm telling you this as someone who's not related to you, who has no vested interest. If you don't want to work with me, that's okay. I'm giving this to you as a service to help you save your sanity. So when I say take your emotions out of it, what do I mean? I mean that, and I'll just give you a little neuroscience fact here. Do you know that when we're stressed out, that we lose up to 80% of our mental acuity? We lose up to 80% of our reasoning, our creative thinking, our logical, mature, intellectual thought process. So if you are emotional and a buyer comes across and they offer you something really terrible for your house, and your feeling, your response is, what do they think? I don't like them. Hang up, cancel, don't even respond to them. Don't even, just ignore their offer, whatever. And believe me, I know I have gotten some really insulting offers on my listings before where I just wanted just to throw something at them. But people are people, and buyers will come across and they will offer you a low price to get a counteroffer. Are there sometimes offers that come across that are just so low that it doesn't deserve a counteroffer? Sure. I'm not saying that it's not like that, of course. But I've also had properties that I had listed at $800,000 or $900,000, like in El Dorado Hills, for example, one that comes to mind, and someone came across and offered for $100,000, and the seller got very angry, which I don't blame her. But after I countered, I think I countered $850,000, they actually countered back. Now we didn't put that deal together, but they came up like $300,000. So sometimes buyers can just be shopping a low deal, and it's your privilege, it's your discretion. You get to decide, but my advice is always to have your agent do a counter offer that is much more reasonable. It takes like 15 minutes, and you never know, right? Now some sellers will say, well, I just don't want to work with people like that, and I get it, and I'm here to support you. If that's how you feel, I feel that way too. But I want you to, this is about you. This is about you getting the most bang for your buck, getting the most money from your property. So the first thing is remove the word worth and consider it value. Value is not personal. Value is a monetary amount that has been assigned to a particular property. And you know what? When you do have an offer and you like it and you decide to go into contract with those buyers, the bank is going to have an appraiser come out to determine the fair market value. The appraiser has absolutely zero investment in your property. They do not care if you did that wallpaper yourself. They do not care that you fell in love on those front porch steps. They don't care about that. They're not looking at it from an emotional worth perspective. They're looking at it as a value-based proposition. So the sooner that you can consider your property to have value instead of worthiness, right? It's not about what's it worth, it's value. The second thing I want you to know when it comes to money and value and you know how buyers are is to understand that buyers set the price. We think as sellers that we're the one that's in charge. And sure, you are. You can say, my property is worth $1 million. But if your agent foolishly accepts that, if it's not valued at that, then I'm sorry, but that would be foolish, because I will not take listings that are ridiculously overpriced. So if you have a property that's currently valued according to MLS, according to the recent comps, it's valued at 700,000, and you want me to list it at $1 million, I'm not going to do it. Why? Because it's a disservice to you, number one. Number two, it's putting my reputation on the line, and I've worked 30 years in Sacramento County and, you know, and El Dorado and Placer, and, you know, my reputation is what I have going for me. So I'm not going to risk my reputation by overpricing a property $300,000. Now, that's not to say I won't compromise, and that's not to say that we can't say, okay, let's try it for 2 weeks and see it, this and that. But at the end of the day, if the value is just not where you think it is, it's just not doing you any favors. Because here's what happens. It sits on the market, and it sits on the market, and it sits on the market, and before too long we hear crickets. And then before too long, agents stop showing it, or maybe they never showed it in the first place. So buyers are the ones who set the value. I know that's hard to believe, but if a buyer isn't willing to pay it, you don't have a transaction. So buyers determine, but lenders, unless it's a cash deal, lenders are the ones who have the final say. So a buyer can come up to you, or to come to say we do an open house, a buyer can show up and say, okay, I'll pay $800,000 for this house. I love it. But the lender is going to have to determine through an appraiser if the value is at $800,000. Because if the value is at $800,000, the bank, the lender, is not going to loan the money to purchase the property. Does that make sense? So all of this money talk, and we get mad at sellers, and we're like, they don't understand how much this house is worth. It's not about that. It's about, number one, is a seller willing to pay what you think the value is? That's number one. Number two, is the lender or the bank willing to put that much money knowing that your home is the collateral? Are they willing to say the value of the home is there? So those are two really important considerations. And the third thing I want to talk about is repairs. And I'm going to do a whole different video on that. So in this one, I'm just going to say that when buyers are buying a new home and they're investing all this money in a new home, and then they get this home inspection sheet and it's like 200 things need to be done, even if they're just very minor things, it kind of freaks them out. So even if you know fully well that there's nothing wrong with the property, and you know a screw needs to be changed here, a piece of wood here, this needs to be insulated, just some little things, be negotiable, compromise. It's a matter of helping the buyer feel like they're not stepping into something that's just going to be this big, big, big hornet's nest. You know it's not, and the agents know it's not, but the buyers can get really spooked very, very easily. So the last thing you want to do is yell and again say, get emotional and say, there's nothing wrong with this house. That inspector's so dumb. You don't need this house in. You can just walk away. But you have to ask yourself, are you serving yourself the best? These people fell in love with your house and they really want to buy it, and they're willing to spend $800,000 on it, assuming it appraises at that. Are you really going to throw them out because they wanted a few $1,000s in repairs? So there's compromise. There's doing the work yourself. There's hiring the work done, because whenever the home inspector and the termite people give you estimates, it's always blown up, right? It's always blown up. I'm sorry. No disrespect to the inspectors out there, but I can't tell you how many times I've had a termite report come back and say there's $4,000 worth of damages, and I was able to get a licensed contractor to do it for $1,500 or $2,000. So, you know, there's always the shopping around too. Anyway, the whole purpose of this video is for you as a seller is to understand that emotions do not belong in your real estate transactions. It just doesn't serve you at all. And I want you to get as much money. I don't care if you live in California or Sacramento. I don't care if you hire me or not. I don't care if you live in Wisconsin. This is something that all sellers need to understand because it will make the real estate transaction so much more stress-free. It's a very, very emotional situation when you go to sell your home. So I'm just trying to help it be a little smoother, a little less stressful on you. And it really boils down to money and how emotional you get when it comes to the topic of money. So hopefully you found some use in this. If you are in the Sacramento area or Placer or El Dorado and you're thinking of selling in the near future, or you just want to get a valuation of your current home, just look at the links below, call me, shoot me a text. I'm happy to help you. Never any pressure at all. I just want to serve you in the best way that I can and help you get the most money for that property. Okay, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.